happened and how the Titans recovered, because they look like they're absolutely composed to perfection. So look at this. The control point is about to unlock, and immediately what you're going to see is a punch across the map coming out from Libero. Scores this first pick, Twilight's down. So the whole of the Vancouver Titans now have to retreat, and they're going to find their way back outside. But as Twilight comes off the respawn, with the control point about to unlock, that's when the Vancouver Titans recontest, push back in, and start a battle over the first point. You very, very rarely see this happen, because with one player down, and look at how far away Twilight is, they lack so much healing. But thanks to some fantastic tank play, in particular, I want to point out this play here from Janu, because as Mano puts his shield down aggressively here, this shield from the Orisa, shield from the Sigma, really deep placements, but the rock comes out from Janu and pushes these guys back and changes the lines of battle completely. Now they're pushed all the way back to here. This shield totally useless for Mano, and he ends up going down as the first elimination. Well, not the first elimination, the Doomfist both trade for each other, but the first real big elimination is Mano going down here without his shield. And Janu does so much work, so much damage. Look at how much of his ult charge he's managed to gain. 75% compared to 38% up here. And despite the fact that Jonex Coalescence comes out earlier, with the power of the Vancouver tanks, they pressure forwards, take space, and even get a flux off towards the end of this fight to be able to make the Vancouver Titans take the point first. It's phenomenal pressure. Look how deep they've driven across the field, taking space early on, and then setting everybody up, mitigating the sound barrier for a big flux towards the end coming out from Janu. Just incredible composed play from the Vancouver Titans. That's the kind of thing that got them the map win early on. That's the reason that they're the #1 seed and potential favorites for this tournament.
I feel like we're seeing champion caliber play on both sides of the stage today, but Sully, Bren, walk me through Lijiang Tower. There was a lot of teamwork, but also some individual plays that were the decider here. What did you see?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one name we have to mention, of course, has to be Haksal. Haksal played a phenomenal game on that Doomfist. At the very beginning on Lijiang Tower, there was a little bit of trading back and forth, but honestly, Vancouver Titans started to really run away with it, and a lot of it was on the back of the insane aggression we saw from Haksal. He was all up in the front line, giving his team a lot of space to actually win over those team fights, getting a lot of kind of positioning on those points.
Yeah, that's the deciding factor of this map one. It has to be the tank play, I think. New York Excelsior, we saw, honestly, it looked shaky. I was a little bit worried after this first map that we were going to see New York just crumble again like they usually do in playoffs, because Meko was having some very uncharacteristic kind of plays happening where he was kind of whiffing a few ultimates. He's not known for this. I bigged this guy up in the pre-show because consistency has always been his game, but today it was a little bit off. But it was where we went to the second map where we really started to see the game just take off a whole nother level, and where I felt a lot more comfortable in the way New York were playing.
Speaking of that second map, it was Kings Row, and if you're a Titans fan, you know this squad didn't drop a Kings Row all regular season, right? Stage 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect on this map. In the playoffs, it's starting to become an issue because New York, they held strong on their defense.
What a ridiculous game for Libero this was. This entire package the pilots are about to witness was tried to be 50-50 with Haksal and Libero. We attempted to make it unbiased, but it was just not possible because Libero was just that good. And this was such an interesting game between the two Doomfists that we need to just really point out, because a lot of the times, sometimes they go for the counter punches, they try and counter one another. This time, Libero was making plays in the backline. He's not known to be a flashy player, not known to be explosive, but today he was carrying his team on his back.
I just want to reiterate what Monty said at the very tail end of that cast, which is just the change and the adaptation New York Excelsior made for the second map. In the first one, it was Vancouver bringing the aggression, and New York kind of had to walk backwards really in most of those engagements. Here, quite the opposite. They were the aggressor. They were actually deciding the pacing of those engagements, and that is really what gave them the upper hand, because in this current meta, that is what you have to do. You have to be aggressive and decisive.
You got to think how much this comes down to the map pool as well. They got the opportunity to pick a map that they're really comfortable with. They know how it plays. I think we're in for a very back and forth series as people take each other to the loser's pit.
I think people are going to look back on this series here as one that could have potentially been a Grand Finals, and it still could be our Grand Finals. Remember that. The loser of this could still go on a run all the way to the Grand Finals as well. So this is how crazy and how high of a level these teams are playing at right now. It's astounding.
Well, this desk thought it was going to be the Vancouver Titans as the stronger team coming in today. After 2 games, how are we feeling about this match? I'm expecting a map 7. Do you still think Vancouver will be the winners?
Here's the thing.
I mean, you
came
didn't
into
even
this
make a
today,
decision,
I didn't make a
right?
prediction. I was split down the middle, and you might think, oh, it's a funny little bit by Brennan. I genuinely could not make a decision because I thought if I go Titans here, it's a bit disingenuous because I felt like New York could win it. This map is definitely going to be going the distance.
I'm ready for it to go the distance, and I know a lot of fans in New York City are hoping that it's NYXL coming out on top. Josh, it's crunch time right now. You bombed out of the playoffs in 2018, but this is a new year. How do they get to Philly?
Well, I pointed out in the pre-show that it's all about their captain, Sabiolbi. This guy has really revitalized New York. They are clutch in the playoffs. They're making adaptations. They're not crumbling. As much as it looks like that Li Zhang was giving me fear, I'm not going to lie, but they came back on Kings Row and they really look retooled. Look at that win rate when Sabiolbi's in the lineup compared to when he's outside of the lineup. This guy, even though he doesn't always put up the flashy plays, and he's certainly capable of it, is so integral to this team's success.
I just love that coming into this meta, we weren't really sure how much of Sabiolbi we will see because he is not necessarily known for playing that Reaper, but he's taken to it wonderfully. He's actually really, really doing the work on that hero.
Yeah, I think it's important to just add on to this as well and just say the impact that Sabiolbi has, you might not see him in a kill feed, but his impact goes beyond that. It's going to be in his calling. It's going to be in his presence on that stage as an individual.
So a final question here. We've got plenty more games to go, but in this game 3, it's Vancouver's pick. Who are our players to watch in your eyes?
Oof, I think we're gonna keep our eyes once again on those Doomfists. They have been the big playmakers, and of course the Sigmas. It's so hard to say that, honestly. Like, just watch out for everyone.
Watch them all, guys. You've got the best of the planet, the best Overwatch players on the planet going toe-to-toe 6v6, and we got another round coming your way after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch.